Hello and welcome! Today we're diving deep into the very foundation of every great hotel, the architectural brief. We're going to unpack how this one single document really shapes everything, from the very first impression a guest has, all the way down to the hotel's long-term profitability. I love this quote because it just hits the nail on the head. A hotel isn't just some static building. It's a living, breathing machine that never, ever sleeps. And that means every single design choice, no matter how small, has a real impact on its operations, day in and day out. So our goal here is to give you the practical, real-world knowledge that you'll need as you move forward in your careers. We're aligning everything you'll see with how modern hotels actually operate. All right, let's get started. We're going to cover 5 key areas today. We'll start with what the brief actually is. Then we'll get into the big design challenges, look at things from the guest's point of view, and finally, we'll tie it all back to what matters most, running a successful business. First things first, let's talk about why the architectural brief is probably the single most important bridge in the entire process of creating a hotel. So what is it really? Well, think of it like the ultimate translation document. It takes the developer's big idea, the vibe, the brand, the feeling they want to create, and it turns all of that into a concrete, technical set of instructions an architect can actually use to build. And just think about that for a second. Before any money is spent on construction, before any ground is broken, this document lays down the law. A really great brief stops operational chaos before it can even begin. It basically ensures that the machine is designed to run smoothly right from day one. Okay, so this brief immediately forces us to confront the biggest challenge in all of hotel design, this constant tug-of-war between beauty and flow. Look, every developer wants a space that just makes your jaw drop, right? That big wow moment. But here's the catch. If that wow gets in the way of how your staff actually do their jobs, you've just built yourself a permanent and very expensive problem. Getting that balance right is everything. What I find so interesting here is the contrast, the wow factor. That's all about the guest's emotion in the first few minutes. But operational flow, that's about the health of the business for every single minute of every single day for years and years. One is a sprint, the other is a marathon. And this is a perfect, real-world example of what happens when flow goes wrong. Yeah, that huge, spectacular dining room might look amazing, but if the service staff has to basically run a half marathon from the kitchen for every table, what happens? Guests get cold food, the hotel gets bad reviews, and your labor costs go through the roof. All right, we've spent some time thinking about the staff, which is crucial. But now let's flip the script. Let's look at the design completely through the eyes of the most important person in the building, the guest. The guest's journey should never be an accident. It needs to be a carefully choreographed sequence of events. Every single step, literally from the moment they pull up in the car to the moment they slide the key into their room door, has to be designed with purpose. So let's break it down. We can't just think of the lobby as one thing and the room as another. We have to think about the path between them. How does a guest move from one point to the next? Is it intuitive? Is it stressful? Or does it just flow? And this is where truly great design almost becomes invisible. This psychology of space is all about using the architecture itself, the lighting, the textures, the lines in the floor, to sort of whisper directions to the guest, making them feel smart and confident, not lost and confused. A lobby that's just plastered with signs is actually a sign of design failure. The building itself should be the guide. Does the lighting naturally draw your eye towards the desk? Does a change in flooring subtly guide you forward? The goal is to make the right path feel like the most obvious one. Okay, so let's zoom out for a minute. We've talked a lot about what's going on inside, but a hotel doesn't exist in a bubble, right? It sits on a piece of land, in a neighborhood, with other buildings around it. This term, massing, sounds technical, but it's one of the first and biggest decisions you make. It's basically asking, where exactly on this plot of land are we going to put this giant object? How do we turn it? The answer has massive consequences for the entire experience. And here's exactly why that decision is so critical. A simple 10-degree turn of the entire building could be the difference between every room getting a stunning ocean view versus a lovely view of the dumpster. It can mean shielding the pool from a noisy highway or making sure the lobby is flooded with beautiful morning light. These are fundamental choices. So, let's bring this all home. Let's talk about the real, bottom-line purpose of getting that architectural brief right from the very beginning. Of course, every single person involved, The developer, the architect, the designer, they all want to create a work of art, something beautiful, something people will talk about. And that is absolutely part of the goal. But it's not the whole story. And here it is. This is the core lesson of this whole explainer. The true masterpiece is a building that is both. It has to be breathtakingly beautiful and incredibly efficient. It needs to create a memory for the guest while also being a fantastic place for the staff to work. And that's where we come full circle. The architectural brief is the tool that makes all of this possible. It's the roadmap for creating an asset that isn't just nice to look at, but is a profitable, functional, and successful business for many, many years to come. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. As a future leader in this industry, you'll always be doing this balancing act. But the real secret, of course, is that you can't truly have one without the other. Thanks for joining me.